Hi, fifth graders. Today we are starting topic 16, and this is lesson 16-1, classifying triangles. Topic 16 is all going to be about classifying 2D figures. It's a geometry unit, so it should be a lot of fun. Today, you are going to take quite a few notes. So I'm going to go through this presentation, and you are going to be pausing the video and writing down notes. I would make a bullet point for each type of triangle. Okay? So the first one is an equilateral triangle. All sides are the same length, and there's a picture to help you see what it looks like. So an equilateral triangle has all sides the same length. So I want you to pause the video now and write down those notes. You should also draw a little picture to help you remember what it looks like. Okay, next triangle. Isosceles triangle. An isosceles triangle has at least two sides that are the same length. So you're going to pause the video, you're going to write down those notes, draw a little picture, and then push play when you're ready. Next up, we have a scalene triangle. And in a scalene triangle, none of the sides are the same length. So you can see it looks a little like a lopsided triangle because none of the sides are the same length. So pause the video, write that down, draw a little picture, and then push play when you're ready. Okay, so those are the ways that we classify the lengths, the sides, okay? So for the sides, we have the equilateral, the isosceles, and the scalene. Now, there are also ways to classify triangles by angles, okay? So first we have the right triangle. And in a right triangle, one angle is a right angle. And a right angle, you probably already know this, but is 90 degrees. That little circle means in degrees, okay? So when you have a right triangle, you'll always see a little square. And if you see that little square in the corner of the triangle, that means it's a 90-degree angle, okay? So a right triangle is always going to have a 90-degree angle. Pause the video, write down your notes, draw a picture, and then push play when you're done. Okay, next up we have an acute triangle. And in an acute triangle, all three angles are acute angles. Acute angles are less than 90 degrees. So they're smaller than 90 degrees than the right angle. And all three angles are acute. Pause the video, write down the notes, draw a little picture, and push play when you're done. Okay, the last way we classify the angles is an obtuse triangle. And I think my notes are kind of getting cut out of the video a little bit, but one angle is an obtuse angle. That first word is one. Obtuse angles are more than 90 degrees. So you can see I circled in blue the angle that was obtuse. So these angles are more open, okay? They're larger than 90 degrees is an obtuse angle. Now in an obtuse triangle, only one of the angles is obtuse. The other two angles are acute. So pause the video, take your notes, draw a picture, and then push play when you're done. All right, the last thing you need to know is the triangle rule. And there we go, I can get it. There we go. Okay, so the triangle rule is that the total measure of all angles in a triangle must be 180 degrees. So when you add up all the angles, it must equal 180. So in this example, if you added up 70 plus 50 plus 60, you would get 180. If you didn't get that, then one of your angle measures would be incorrect. So please pause the video, write down that rule, and then push play when you're done. Okay, we are going to look at our practice problems now. So let me go over here. Okay, So this asks us to classify each triangle by its sides and then by its angles. We're going to do both, sides and angles. Okay. So in number 5, I'm going to look at the sides first. So I see one side is 6, the other side is 6, and the bottom is 3 and 1/10. So I see that 2 of the sides are the same. Okay. When 2 of the sides are the same, that is an isosceles triangle. Okay. We also have to look at the angles. We have 75, 75, and 30. Now, none of them are bigger than 90, which would be obtuse, and none of them are 90, which would be a right angle. So that means it would be an acute triangle. Because all 3 angles are acute angles, all 3 angles are smaller than 90 degrees. All right, next up, number 6. My sides first. I have 9, 12, and 15 yards. None of those sides are the same. When none of the sides are the same, that is a scalene triangle. Okay? Now I have to look at the angles. They didn't give me angle measures. What they did give me was the little square. Do you remember what that square means? The square means it is a right angle, okay, 90 degrees. Anytime you have a right angle, it's going to be a right triangle. So the way you would classify this triangle would be scalene and right. All right, next up, number 7. We have, for our sides, 11, 11, and 11. All 3 sides are the same length. So that means it is an equilateral triangle. All sides are the same length. Now, in this case, my angles are all the same too. I don't have any that are 90 degrees, and the 60s are not bigger than 90 either, which means they will all be acute. Okay, all 3 angles are acute angles, so it's an acute triangle. The last one we're going to do on this page is number 8. Actually, we might as well just do all of them. So number 8, I'm going to look at my sides. 9.2, 9.2, 15.1. I notice that 2 of them are the same, which means it would be an isosceles triangle. Okay? Now, it only gives me one angle measure, 110, but I can see that that angle is pretty open. Okay? And 110 is bigger than 90, which means it's an obtuse angle, and so it's an obtuse triangle. Next up, number 9. For my sides, I have 6, 8, and 10. None of them are the same size, so that would be a scalene triangle. Scalene, right? And then finally, I see with the angle, I see I have a square, which means it is a right angle that's 90 degrees. So it's a right triangle. And finally, number 10. I have 6 and 5/10, 12 and 12 centimeters. When I see the two 12s are the same, I see that 2 sides are the same. So it's an isosceles triangle. Okay, now it doesn't give me any angles, but as I'm looking at them, none of them look like a right angle, okay, and none of them look big. None of them look opened up like it's a obtuse angle either. They all look like they're acute angles, so this would be an acute triangle. Sometimes you also just have to see what it looks like, okay? And if it looks like the 2 lines are coming closer together and it's less than 90 degrees, then it's going to be acute angles, right? Okay, let's try a couple more types of problems. All right, number 11. The Louvre Pyramid serves as an entrance to the Louvre Museum in Paris. The base of the pyramid is 35 meters long. So the base is the bottom. So that would mean, uh-oh, it took away my pen. Sorry about that. So this base right here at the bottom would be 35. That was weird. Meters. And then it says the sides are 32 meters long. So 32 meters, 32 meters. Okay. Classify the triangle on the front of the Louvre Pyramid by the lengths of the sides and the measures of its angles. Okay. So I'm noticing that 32 and 32 are the same. When I have two sides that are the same, it is an isosceles triangle. Okay. Now I'm looking at all my angles. I don't see any right angles that have the little square that are 90 degrees. And obtuse, the open ones, I don't really see those either. So this is going to be an acute triangle with all angles acute. All right, skipping down to number 14. The measures of two angles of a triangle are 23 degrees and 67 degrees. Is the triangle acute, right, or obtuse? Okay, so I'm going to have to do some math. I know that all triangles have to equal 180 degrees. Okay, so what I'm going to do first is I'm going to add up that 23 and that 67 to see how much my angles already are. So 7 plus 3 is 10. 1 plus 2 is 3, plus 6 is 9. Okay, so I already have 90 degrees. Now I have to figure out how much I have left. Okay, so if I take my 180 and subtract that 90, I can see how much is left. So 0 minus 0 is 0. 18 minus 9 is 9. So that means I have 90 degrees left. So my third angle has to be 90 degrees. Now, if you remember, what's 90 degrees? 90 degrees is a right angle. And if I have one right angle, that means it must be a right triangle. So this would be a right triangle. Sometimes you'll have to do that. You'll have to add up how much your angles already are, and then you'll have to subtract it from 180 to see what your third angle is going to be. Okay, use these to help you out on your practice problems.